series, even if yesterday it was one-sided. As in the bottom right, our red Zerg from Dragon Kaiser Gaming. This is Dark. And the top left, our blue Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion is actually on a losing streak against his opponent, I think 3 or 4 matches in a row now. This is the kind of series where you turn it all around, because this is the kind of series where you come in very prepared with some specific builds. And if there's anyone very capable of doing something like that, it's absolutely this man, ByuN, in the top left on Babylon to start the series. Same first map as how we opened in the series against Cyril and Clem that just wrapped up. That was an excellent display at TvZ. Wouldn't surprise me if that's just the best series we have all day. If the rest of the series even begin to live up to that, then this is going to be an amazing first day of the playoffs here. Again, we're here most of the week, so there's no Masters Coliseum on Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday, I'm in Germany for the Home Story Cup. I was kind of a little hopeful that maybe we'd be able to find a way to cast anyways on those days, but I don't know if it'll be possible, but obviously we'll probably catch up on the Masters Coliseum afterwards, so yeah. So just get going. A couple of barracks, so gonna be on the way up. It's gonna be 3 racks immediately from ByuN, so he's gonna go on the offensive at the very start of this series. Gonna really ramp up the pressure from the very first game. As our 3 racks obviously aims to always take down a 3rd hatchery, really keep the pressure going for a long time. Dark has had some very good responses and counters to Reaper play in general lately. We'll see if he finds one of them in this opening game. Both ByuN might get off to a little bit of a hot start. First Reaper's already moving out, the Overlord's in production. And just getting through to spot that. It's 2 racks on the low ground. We'll not go into the main base to see the 3rd barracks though, so that will be a little bit of the unknown still here for Dark as our first Reaper does begin to move onto the map. It's going to go down to the bottom right-hand side. More Reapers already on the way to follow up as well, so bringing that through just for the moment. As this drone moves over to the right-hand side, we're going to go build a hatchery. Look to try and get that 3rd hatch underway. Get that started up ASAP. As Reaper goes pinging, the drones start to take some shots. We're actually going to kill a drone here. And that's 2 drones dead. This is actually going to be pretty rough already for Dark. 2 drones down, and obviously this is just the very first Reaper, never mind all the ones that are yet to come. ByuN will sit for a few moments longer. Good grenade, going to bounce the Queen backwards. Now another drone is low. It becomes a Spore Crawler. Massive disruption to the mineral line here to begin with, as you see this other Reaper going around the other way on its own accord, trying to find something extra, just gets out alive. Playing a little bit of a dangerous game for a couple of moments, but like I say, getting out alive in the end, as now the Reapers will work on that 3rd hatchery. This is pretty much always a priority. Knocking down the 3rd hatchery, taking down this position. Pretty much, like I say, almost always a priority in this game. Just to make sure that you don't have this come up when you're playing the 3 racks Reapers. One more Reaper showing up. There's going to be 5 Reapers in total. We'll continue to hit the hatch. As you can see, a couple of Queens just spreading the creep out, pushing it forwards a little bit. There's the hatchery cancelled as well. I'm going to swap obs, guys. I feel like our Indy's not having the best of times right now. As you see Stimpak coming up. This is the official WTL obs again. I went off him earlier because he felt like he was a bit slow to move around. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll swap observers a few times before we find someone. Maybe I'll just observe myself, because I feel like no one's moving their freaking camera today. It's just me. Everyone's just kind of sat still on things. Reaper's coming up. Again, the ling speed's about to be done, as we do have a lot of lings available. So that's a few more just finished up as well. So this is a massive amount of lings floating across the map, ready to come onto the other side, and that should obviously make life a little difficult, but there's no baneling nest, right? So I'm not sure what exactly we're really overall hoping to do or hoping to achieve here. Just not sure what the overall plan kind of becomes, is just have these lings continue to make the move around. The Overlord on the edge, not really going to do much, but just that kind of general idea of threatening. Stimpak will finish up very soon. The +1 attack is just going to be on the way in as well. We're just going to be seeing ourselves Queen continuing through. The Reapers continue to move back out onto the map again, and just going to head down that left-hand side where they might be able to find themselves a few shots or so. Obviously, those Zerglings are in very good numbers, so it's going to be a pretty dangerous trade, but ByuN has some pretty ridiculous Reaper micro, including getting out of very sticky situations, which usually involve too many lings, so expecting that to be something of a factor. You see our starport finishing up, the reactor will complete. Now Reapers continue to fall back into the natural. We still have +1 attack and the combat shield. Both coming up as Ling Bane continues to produce. On the side of Dark, that Bane is currently halfway done still. As he keeps going Lings, it just feels like he's going for like a massive Baneling bust eventually. I mean, what else could he really be aiming for if you're still building Lings to some great extent here? Like, I'm just not sure what exactly the overall plan's going to turn out to be. Reapers find one single Zergling, more Lings on the way. Yeah, Dark's just going to send it. He's just going to go all in. I mean, there's going to be a lot of Banelings. The Reapers here are very close to finding these Zerglings as well, by the way, as they move toward the center. Marines on the map as well. This could actually be terrible for ByuN if he's kind of out on the map at a bad time. It's going to be really bad for him. As now the Lings are going to make a bit of a catch. Well, Stim is done. Medivacs are here. The extra Lings showing up. I mean, honestly, the Marines are not in that bad of a position, because they're up against the edge, and there's no Banelings here either. Now, that wasn't it from Dark. If Dark had any amount of Banelings there, that sort of catch could be really cool, but without any Banelings, what's going to stop the Marines from just standing and fighting? The Medivacs weren't even quite there, and this honestly wasn't even that bad. Kind of shows you how much of a mess up that was, as we'll scan one more time. A couple more creep tumors going down, as now it's going to be full pressure forward from ByuN. Good grenade, actually denied the Baneling, allowing him to get the target fire on it while it's too far away to connect. Beautiful little additional play there from ByuN, as we are going to be seeing these Marines continue to fight. The Lings all going down, the Queen will drop, the other Queen trying to move forward, it's going to get pushed away as well, and this is looking to be way too much as we turn onto the hatchery. ByuN is going to win the game. He was having a Baneling burst about to hit his front door, but Dark just says there's never going to be enough here, and he types out the GG, giving ByuN the first game quickly in this best of 5. Right, our Red Zerg now down one map from Dragon Kaiser Gaming. Dark. Bottom left, our blue Terran from the Shopify Rebellion. ByuN. I'm gonna try Indy's camera again. I just felt like there was a period in that last game where, don't get me wrong, obviously I'm being lazy, not observing myself, but like, everyone's camera I jumped to was just still. I felt there was so much movement happening on the map. I was like, no one's watching the Lings or watching like Stimpack build for like an excessive amount of time. I don't know, man. So like I said, that's what I get for being lazy and not observing myself, but it's not just a laziness thing, guys. I also cast better when I don't observe myself. It's definitely something I've just accepted. Wardi-obsing really is kind of terrible. It's also great for my mental health when I don't have to read on the YouTube comments every day how much people hate my observing. You know, also a massive benefit. As we're just moving our way through the first couple minutes here is a low ground barracks but no number 2, which means probably just a Marine and trying to catch the initial Overlord Marine or 2 Marines. Get an initial Overlord kill can absolutely throw the Zerg build into a little bit of disarray, so perhaps some opportunity there on ByuN's initial choice. So you are going to see the first Marine on the way out. Pretty much the only reason you would build a low ground single barracks. A couple seconds it saves you on one single Reaper isn't going to do much, and then, you know, in this case it really just gets these Marines forward enough to maybe make the catch on the Overlord, which again can be kind of a big deal early enough in the game. It can have a big impact. It can definitely throw the Zerg build order off in a big way, so. Once I just build on the natural, going to be seeing the spawning pool's about to be done. The Marines are just out here chilling. Yes, if he's still moving about a little bit. The Overlord heading down the bottom left, and immediately 2 Marines show up. There is no high ground here. Dark realizes it, so he says, well, there's no point in me pulling back. I may as well go forward and try to pick up any amount of info. Does he see anything? Honestly, probably not. Yeah, he saw that there was an add-on building now, but that's obviously very standard too. So you don't really get any information here as Dark, but you're not really meant to. That's exactly what this build is designed to do. Deny the info, throw your opponent off. This one Overlord finishing is not really going to unsupply block Dark, so I don't feel as though he's responding to what's happened. Dark, we need another Overlord, bud. It took a very long time to begin. A very long time to begin. Couple of OVs, that Ling speed coming out. Dark is going to have himself We move to Lings here as we do go into the starport. Factory is now going to build some Hellions off the front. Our natural expansion of the Terran is finished, but no third CC. This is double gas. ByuN wanting to bring the pressure with his build order throughout the early stages, so he's not going to let up. He's not going to let this be plain and easy. As you see those couple Hellions still just coming on through. Starport finishing up in a few moments' time as well. That starport complete and we can get ourselves straight towards like a medevac or so. Or maybe even like a Viking, a liberator. We have a tech lab, so yeah, we actually played Swap Ruse and go Cloak Banshee. You can basically do anything, including what the one thing I didn't say. Cloak Banshee is maybe the most obvious. I actually missed the tech lab on the production tab, so that's why I didn't kind of immediately think of calling the Banshee. I thought it was just going to be tech labless, but of course it makes sense that the barracks went and built something next to it when it floated back there originally. So if I'd used my brain, we might have figured that one out a few moments sooner. As we do see the Hellions attempt to dive in here, they're just going to grab one single creep teamer for the moment. Hellions back up into the center, going to be taking one shot, so a couple of Hellions start to go down. And now they're going to get through here. 5 drones going down. This is really bad here from Dark. He's not going to lose any more drones on the low ground, but only because we're now going to dive the main base. And this greedy style of Zergs, where they're not building any amount of Lings, is really starting to bite them a little bit. Felt like Clem got a bit of an answer to it against Serral, and here against Dark, ByuN is going to find some good damage too. If he gets back to the low ground, honestly, there's some low HP drones. I actually think he shouldn't have stopped to fire the first time on those couple of drones, although this is one of the big parts of this as well. No cloak ready, no spore ready. I actually think the Banshee should have gone, well, okay. ByuN kind of messed this up. He could have maybe waited with the Banshee, then cloaked and gone straight to the natural. You could argue that with the low HP drones, there might be a bunch that are now one-hittable for the Banshee, but I don't think the Banshee's going to see much opportunity. And to be fair, the spores are pretty much on time anyway. But ByuN did mess it up by bringing the Banshee in a little bit too soon. Yeah, a lot of those drones regen. What I was going to say is if he didn't hit the drones that were like here as the Hellion was trying to get to the low ground, he might have actually gotten to the low ground. And then there's no queens there. It's very plausible he might have found a couple of the drones that were already low HP from earlier on that natural. Obviously still a good dive in from ByuN. It wasn't exactly a ton of Hellions, it was just 4, so not super committed. He does maintain a little bit of control as he actually just loses one more though, so now only one Hellion left on the map. That's this Banshee playing a dangerous game, but it is going to find itself a queen, and the second queen will take a few shots. This is also something we've seen more of lately from the Zergs. No Overseer because we don't have a lair, because we're playing the double Evo build. Oh, that Banshee didn't find the final shot. Shame from ByuN. We're playing the double Evo build, so we're not playing the fast lair and Balin Nest, we're playing the upgrades and the Evo chambers. That's something that we saw out of, it was doing a lot the other day. Solar we were casting the other day. Might have been, I think it was Solar. I don't think it was in the Dark ByuN series we casted yesterday. Might have even been a few days ago. Anyways, in general, the past week and a bit, we've generally seen a few more kind of double Evo melee upgrade builds instead of getting this faster lair and the Balin Nest, so... guys, I gotta be right back 1 second. I'll be back in just a moment. Sorry, the door's here. Apologies, guys. Had to get the door as I come back. Looks as though ByuN's still moving around with his Marine tank force. Not finding anything just yet as a couple of creep teamers go down, Lings. Gonna make a dive. I think that's enough to clean this up. ByuN really stood and fought this. Huh. Kind of an interesting choice to stand and fight. I feel like he could have just saved a lot of those Marines. And then perhaps really powered up this position. Creep spread going down, hatchery going to get caught. This really has become ByuN's favorite position on Ancient Cistern. As ByuN is only on 2 bases, guys. No third. No macro planned. This is absolutely ByuN just saying, hey look, I want to try and play a very aggressive game. I want to try and kill you with this sort of a push, but he's going to need a lot more than what he's gained right here. There is a lot of work to do, in fact, for ByuN. As Burrow starts up from Dark, Bane speed is on the way. I mean, that topside base has already been replaced, so like I say, there's a lot of work to be done. for ByuN to really turn this 2-base all in into something that is seen as successful. Marines and tanks will continue forward. Just going to be seeing his next push from ByuN, trying to take position. Has a bit of an army supply edge, which is exactly what we're looking for. As ByuN gets another tank in a dangerous position behind the edge, and I mean, Dark is set to come from all angles, trying to absolutely make this as strong as possible here, perhaps, as our Marines knocking down a whole bunch of things, kind of getting knocked through. Just going to be seeing the Lings on the counterattack, actually going to run into a whole bunch of units on the bottom left, so I don't think ByuN's going to have an issue there. Even sieging the tank just in case of Banelings, so Dark doesn't find anything counterattacking. That's definitely starting to show us a little bit of problem as our tanks are set up. The Ling Bane going to be turned around. Tanks continue to come about, and just going to be seeing a few more Banelings getting shot at. Our Marines will turn around, the Banelings will fall. Ling's making a bit of a dive there. We're just going to be seeing the Marines dealing with that as our Marines loading up a bunch of Marines. Loading into the medevacs on the right side. I can't get a hold of my words here. But Dark can't get a hold of this game either, as ByuN is going to take down the Ling Bane, and he is going to push on through. He is going to take out this position, and he is going to just get everything. 2-base all in is going to work, and Dark losing units as he goes. He's going to be down 0-2 in this best of 5. Like I said, ByuN just kind of come with some fire today, and obviously winning Nation System as well is a huge deal. This is the Zergy map. This is the one that Zerg's like the most out of the 5 maps they'll play in this series. To lose this one as the Zerg is only going to make the comeback even more challenging for Dark, as he's now down 2 in this best of 5 series, and ByuN showing up with the build so far today, doing things he's not really done recently. If Dark can get back on track, he is not having the series he wants right now. He might be dropping down to that lower bracket, which will obviously continue tomorrow as well. This is winners bracket round of 8. Tomorrow will be lower bracket round of 8 initially as well. If the loser of this series actually drops down to play against Raynor, by the way, so that should be a very ZvZ heavy start tomorrow. Sarah Lambo, potentially Dark Raynor. Dark in the bottom right here, looking to avoid that lower bracket. While in the upper left, the blue Terran ByuN is looking to dive himself into the winner bracket round 2. That would be a matchup against Clem in those upper semi-finals. As ByuN, you probably got to like that a little bit. We know Clem has not been the most well known for his TvT, especially versus Koreans. Although there's anything but a guarantee when it comes to that, because I do feel like Clem's leveled it up again a little bit lately, and ByuN's TvT's been very good, but I feel like maybe Clem has beaten ByuN more than the other Koreans especially. Overlord going out to the upper left-hand side, a few barracks on the way, so it's going to be 3 racks opening again here from ByuN. Really, again, looking to up the ante immediately in this game, look to put the pressure on, look to get aggressive straight away. Just generally go with that kind of aggro opening. Well, first Overlord pressing forward. Of course, last game, Overlord dies early to them. A couple of Marines. Again, just the power that Terrans can kind of come up with on these openings lately has been pretty awesome. There's just so many different options for Terrans lately on the openings, especially. And when you mix them up and use them kind of in all sorts of different ways, it's so difficult for the Zerg to keep on making correct decisions throughout the course of everything. Lings still coming through. Our Ling speed is coming up. A couple Lings trying to make a little bit of a dive, as we do have the Reaper there to push back a little. I'd love to see Dark fight back a little bit. I mean, it's a great tournament, right? A fantastic event. And obviously, shout out to SC Boys for putting it on. I know it's only the first day of playoffs, but I feel like all of these games have such heavy weighting kind of put on them. It'd be awesome to see Dark bring it back. At least one map, you know. I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit of a ByuN fanboy as well. But you know what? I also wouldn't be against Dark winning, and then Dark plays Clem and ByuN plays Raynor. Those sound like some very juicy matches in the future, you know. Those seem like some very juicy matches. Reaper's gonna go hopping onto this hatchery, so hatchery will take a good chunk of damage to start us off. Reapers continue to work their way through that one. And this hatchery is going to go down. We know this is going to happen. It always happens. There's not really a way to deny that when you're playing through React Reaper. Not that I've seen, at least. It pretty much seems like just a guarantee that that's going to be part of what goes down here. So Reaper hops up. The Fueling is going to go chase that Reaper away. Make sure it gets pushed out. A few more Reapers coming through. And the Reaper's actually going to maybe catch a few of these Lings as they get across the other side. No Baneling Nest or anything. Dark doesn't have anything too sneaky kind of planned as well. ByuN, first grenade was not quite as good as it usually is from him. Second grenade much better, but he's just on a little bit of a losing edge here initially, and he's just going to try and fight, but he's going to lose every single Reaper, so that's going to be kind of on ByuN. Micro wasn't quite there, doesn't get the Reapers back, and that does depower him a little bit. So now these Lings, well, actually ByuN is still building Reapers, so you will have more to deal with the Lings if they try and push forward. Again, there's not going to be any Banelings here. That could be very scary if there was actually a Banelings to bust through, as Dark recovers from the worker deficit he'd found himself in over the last few moments. Starport coming up, the reactor coming through, the orbital is about to finish. And these Reapers are trying to be careful, they don't want to get caught again, but they feel as though they're safe enough because they can jump back towards the main base should anything come about, so it seems to be part of the plan. As those Lings just continue off over to the bottom right side. And chill out in the center a little bit. Couple Queens, couple drones, couple hatcheries, all the good stuff being brought into play still. As you do see the starport lifting off, it's going to go over to the reactor. I'm going to swap onto that right now. The factory going to move over to the side as well. And whoa, a medevac and a liberator. That's a combination, isn't it? I imagine that's intentional, I guess. Maybe because we're not on any kind of super fast marine play. We're just going to have like one medevac with these Reapers, and then, yeah, with one medevac with the Reapers and then the liberator harass itself. I wonder if this is a little bit kind of impromptu from ByuN. You know, he says, hey, I lost a lot of Reapers earlier. Let's make a few more to stay safe. That's going to delay my marines, my stim, etc. So now you don't really have the use for the double, you know, the reacted starport. But then he finds himself a use for it. You know, he makes it work in some way. So that would be really bad to lose both of these reactors. If he loses one of them, it's a cancel at least. He gets a bit of the money back, but reactor is one of the biggest issues. It's not necessarily, I mean, 50 gas isn't cheap, but it's the time it takes to build them. You know, killing a reactor is actually going to delay probably like, what, like 4, 5, you know, probably like 4 marines are coming out onto the map, so it actually does put a pretty big delay onto, I mean, how long does the reactor just take? 36 seconds, so yeah, it's like 2 rounds of marine production, so that's like 4 marines that don't come out. Early in the game, that's pretty substantial. That's a big slowdown to what could be, you know, a bigger part of ByuN's army, as ByuN is finding a lot of these Lings with the Reapers, and of course with the medevac now, these Reapers are very safe. They can jump up and get away at any moment. Is Liberator going to siege? Dark does respond immediately, but it's still half of his mineral line not currently mining. The Queen has to take the convoluted route to get to the edge, and oh, yeah, have to be careful with that as well. Don't want to run that into Liberation Zone. As ByuN now using these Reapers to actually go after some creep spread as well. Lifts up, gets out, still reposition that Lib over on the bottom side. Gets rid of 1, gets rid of 2 Queens. I mean, for all the mine time it denied as well, to get a couple Queens on top, I feel like that is a fantastic starting point from ByuN. He can't be anything but happy about how that goes. Dark trying to get 12 additional drones into place, so they're all building. 10 Lings on the way out. Baneling Nest will come into the front. On stim pack, all that coming through. Just going to be seeing our Reapers and our medevac hanging out in the center a little bit. That Bane Nest about halfway done here still. Hydroden and the Infestation Pit also going to be coming through, so just bringing those up. As you see, Marine's going to get onto the edge of the creep spread there. The Reapers do have to evacuate away from the group of Lings. Just going to back up for the moment. All Lings up to the top side. Reapers come through. Just going to net himself another couple of Lings. Whoa, that's absolutely a moment where the medevac's meant to save them, but took a little moment kind of diving backwards. Now ByuN does have medevacs and marines on the map, so we've gone to the point where he's actually set up with this. Dark is immediately already looking and focusing on some amount of counter-attack. So straight in here with these Lings, the marines take a moment to come out with the natural. Only 3 SCVs going down, so it ain't so bad. It ain't so costly just yet, as the Reapers are actually going for this hatch. I don't think they can really stick around there, but That hatchery is low. It just means it's an easier target later down the line whenever you do get other units over there. Ling's going to grab one SCV. Now a few Marines come forward. A couple of those Lings get chased away immediately. Hydra's still coming up. The Hive is coming through. A couple of drones being built as we speak. As again, the Reapers on the right side push a few more Lings back. Just for the moment. Here come the Lings one more time. Reapers getting surrounded. Now we're going to just load the Reapers up and then put them back over here. Going to go after a couple more drones. Medevac escapes over to the edge. Just going to be still seeing our T2MLA upgrades coming out. Again, seeing our Musco augments coming through. That'll finish up very shortly. The Baneling speed is also coming out. As the single queen there puts a few more shots onto the Medevac. The Medevac getting a little bit low as our Reapers will unload. Push over here. ByuN is going to take down every single Baneling. The Widowmine started off nicely, but the target fire on the Banes after was the icing on the cake, as now he will actually face a bit of pushback from another couple Banes. Good start of the fight from ByuN, but he is kind of outnumbered supply-wise, and that's definitely his biggest weakness at the moment. So that was a decent fight, but there's a lot more than just a decent fight to find at the moment, as we do see the Medevac still chilling out in the center. T2 upgrades are not far from finishing there. More Medevacs coming through from ByuN. Gonna come and heal up the rest of these Marines. So they got healed up in the center. A few additional Banelings are about to finish our army of ByuN. Oh no, the Widowmine goes off on the changeling. That's not really what you want. It's a little bit of a waste. As now we just dive forward. This has got to be just a get out of here moment. Widowmine kind of burrows up halfway through. It's going to get a connection. Somehow the split away is good enough to keep a chunk of units alive there. That really didn't feel as though that should have been anything like that. That felt as though that should have been a huge shot, but Dark finds a good enough split. And now Dark, a couple more Banelings morphing in, and it looks as though he's going to keep pushing forward. He's had some resilience in this game. He's been able to kind of push ByuN back a few times as we do try and target fire down Banelings. These next couple of Widowmines need to burrow and do something. There's not... Okay, the Lings just kill them anyways. ByuN's is going to get broken down. Dark has the swarm on his side, and he uses it to bust through this base, take down game 3, and now ByuN only leads by a single map as Dark, bottom right corner of the map. From Dragon Kaiser Gaming, the red Zerg, Dark. Top left, however, blue Terran still in the lead is going to be ByuN from the Shopify Rebellion, of course. Continue to support the players this year. Thanks for joining us, of course, today, guys. As we are going to be here today, Wednesday, Thursday for Masters Coliseum. I'll be gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I come back midday-ish Monday. I probably will not be live on Monday, unless we use Monday to catch up on Masters Coliseum in, like, the afternoon or something. Not really 100% sure just yet. Yeah, not 100% sure what we'll do, but I'm away over the weekend because it's the mini Home Story Cup thing. You guys can watch players like Clem and Creator and so on. We're going to travel over to Germany and go into Take's house, not just the Take TV bar anymore. I'm going to go to Take's house and do an old school style Home Story Cup. Which, I mean, I've not done an old school. I never went to one of the older Home Story Cups, so very exciting. See how it feels. So that's this weekend. Should be fun. Let's to drop a command center down. 100 Castle Pool all coming up. All of this getting going. And Reaper is already going to be finishing up on the high ground in just a couple of moments. Again, that Reaper completed. We do just have our hatchery about to finish on the low ground. The spawn pool coming through. That hatchery is done, and our drone moves out into the center of the map. Zergland speed on the way out for the moment, as we just have a drone ready to build up an extractor over here, get that going on that bottom base, get that set for the early few moments, and you have the few Zerglings already coming about, going to go after that first Reaper of the game. This is, of course, just a more standard opening from ByuN. We're not going to see multi-Rax Reaper this time around, as he loses a bit of momentum in the series. Going to change up his builds again. Does he play that 2-base all in on Ancient? I mean, Neo is a map which we see pretty much all the time Dark utilizing as a roach map. He almost always plays roaches on this one. I imagine this is probably not going to be too different as Reaper comes around, just going to go poking about. A couple of Marines still coming through, just going to be seeing this Reaper hop into the high ground where it's not going to last too long. A few Lings actually going to come on the other side. A couple of Marines will finish with the SCVs. They should be able to take this on. There's already one extra Marine as well. It's kind of fine, but we do lose an SCV, right? So it's a little bit costly, although you're also going to lose the Lings, although, I mean, they should have had another SCV. It's the Terran RNG on their side again, as the SCV got away to the corner of the other corner of the command center while building. It's really not something you can control too much. Sometimes you can like stop it and it will, rebuild and it will move, but this is absolutely just it decided to save itself. It's nice when your SCVs have like, self-defense built into their AI, I like that. If only other Terran units could do that too. Maybe I'd have a chance at being good at this game again sometime. Queens in the bottom left for DC. Lings still gather in the center. Roachron coming up. Overlord, couple extractors coming through. The Lings are going to make a dive as Reaper. And yeah, they're getting caught over here. The Hellion also going to back away up the left-hand side. Just see those Lings really are going to come across and get a catch. So that is one SCV being picked off already. And the medevac units moving down the right as we do see the Lings come in. One SCV goes down. Roachron about to finish up. As Cyclone getting a lock on. And a little bit of a cleanup here. We do see the Banshee and the Cloak continue to come in, so bringing that online. As the medevac loops around the right-hand side, just going to be aiming to drop into this main base next few moments. Well, straight away we've got ourselves the Queens there to say, nah, you don't get to drop into this position so easily. That gets kind of shut down pretty much straight away. As you still see the Lair continuing up the Roaches on the way out. Like I said, this for Dark is almost always a Roach map. There's a lot of aggressive 1-1 timings on this map into the kind of pincering into the third base. But also not afraid to kind of go beyond that 66 drones and to kind of play the longer game of Roach Ravager. Zero surprise at all that you see ByuN playing a Banshee-based opening here. I think that only makes sense based on what we're currently seeing. As this medevac continues to cruise about. And the Cyclone getting a lock on onto a Roach already. Going to put some damage out. And the first Roach is actually going to go down. So this works out quite nicely. Just in case Dark thought he might be able to poke across the map for some love. He's not going to find any love at all. Comes out, just going to be seeing a couple more creep teamers going down. Lings and our Roaches are going to continue to move forward, and this, I think, maybe ByuN has stuck around a little too long, could have maybe lifted his Marine slightly sooner. Now the Cyclone is going to be stuck as well. He can't get away. Good control on those Zerglings. Dark ensuring that he has the trap on that Cyclone, ensuring that he's not going to let that Cyclone just kind of waddle away easily. Wants to make sure he gets the absolute most out of it, out of his units, so... Grabbing that is only just now. Evo Chamber's going down, though. He's going to be playing very far behind on upgrades. That is one thing that Dark's just going to have to kind of be accepting of here. I don't think there's any kind of cool, smooth solution or anything to get out of that. Roach speed is still coming up. A couple of Evolution Chambers are coming in. Overlord is still building. Our Lings continue through as well. A couple of Ravagers starting to hit those rocks. And the Banshees are going to actually cloak up here. They're going to come through and chase down a Queen. Queen getting hunted. First Queen goes down immediately. The other Queens are going to continue to push forwards. Satchel comes into the front. A Spore Crawler gets set. A few drones are going to pull away here as the Banshees are going to go and try to deny the Spore. But with the Overseer out and about, obviously we do have mobile detection, and so we can actually push the Banshees away more succinctly than what we've maybe seen in some of the previous games where we have had been, a little bit more reliant on Spore Crawlers. Here we actually are going to see the Banshees running out of energy, but they do grab a Queen before they're done. Love to see that if you're a fan of ByuN right there, just getting a nab. Even when I kind of felt like those Banshees shouldn't have really been able to find anything. In general, Dark's defense has been pretty darn good. But in this case, it just wasn't quite enough. There's a few more Roaches gathered to the front. The drone's still coming out. Rallying over in this direction as well. And Banshees will just go through and pick off a couple of changelings that were trying to pick up some info. Maybe specifically trying to get over to that watchtower and just try and hold that position. So that's just ByuN, again, denying information from his opponent, as Dark is going to begin the Nidus. So he does go beyond 3-base saturation, he does look to mine off a 4th, but he is going to be very aggressive. Tunneling Claws and Burrow. Nidus is going to be a really super active game. The kind of game where you really try and catch your opponent out and you really try and keep them super busy, right? Like the entire time here, it feels though we're probably going to be running around with units just trying to do something. But we're about to complete our missile upgrades and carapace coming out. That Banshee still overhead. It's going to be seeing the road just continue to work their way through some rocks and so on. As our Marines and Medevacs pull back over into the center. Infestation Pit is still building up. Just going to be seeing a few Overlords are still on the way out. So all of that being brought in. So we are teching, right? Like, most importantly, Dark is not like committing to this, like, I'm just going to spam you with units and hope I can find damage here, there, or wherever. Like, he is teching. He has got a later game plan as well. And it does kind of poke at the front initially. The Nidus coming up, but ByuN is going to pull SCVs and a couple units that's going to go down, so it's going to be dealt with nicely. So the first Nidus doesn't do much. You can get his SCVs back. However, was the distraction good enough? Those Corrosive Biles definitely weren't. They missed a whole bunch of the siege tanks. So many Biles just completely whiffing. And now a Queen off creep gets taken down as well. ByuN chasing on the right-hand side. Doesn't want to go too far, obviously, especially on creep. Things can get dangerous, so we're going to be a little more cautious over there. As another Nidus comes down in the main base. Still have units up through the center from Dark, working around the left. One siege tank should be enough. Can obviously kind of send the units that he knows are going to be able to deal with this. He's played against a Nidus plenty of times, so he can just send, I guess, kind of the bare minimum as well. Oh, ByuN sent up on the right side, but Dark's army's on the left. Who's going to come home to deal with who? Neither player. Okay, we're going to start base trading a little bit. ByuN believes he can defend with the bare minimum. Dark is going to push in, and then he's going to pull back himself. Now, I actually don't hate it for Dark. Usually I feel like Zerg do pretty well in these scenarios, especially now as Dark essentially sets up a massive surround on this army. You're going to see the Roaches on the bottom right side melting, however, and ByuN could maybe pull back into the Ravages with his Marines. Apparently doesn't have the power to do that. In the end, just lifts up and backs away. Factory here is going to have to be repaired to be saved, has to rebuild the tech lab so we can get more tank production going, but I think this sequence of events absolutely benefits Dark, who now comes swinging up the left-hand side. Roach Ravager Force going to come through. A few of these Marines will begin to go down. He will stim as the Bioforce strong enough. We're about to have 2-2, which in a couple of moments might actually help you turn the tide of this battle, especially as there's mostly only Ravagers left. These Bio units are going to get a lot done. A couple more Desperation Biles, but ByuN just runs through them, getting rid of every single Ravager bar a couple. Fantastic choice from ByuN, decisive when he needed to be, and he does push Dark back, gets a massive victory. And again, 2-2 just finishing at the right time to really help him come on through that one. Creep spread coming out in the center, just going to be seeing 2-2 missiles are still coming through. The melee upgrade just now starting as our hive comes up as well. A couple more drones still being brought into place again. All of that up and running. As we do see Dark coming forward again. Melee upgrade starts. I feel like this is the kind of the typical way that Roach Ravager armies kind of die in a way as well. Where it kind of feels like it's like, okay, this has been going good for me, and then you just overextend in one too many times, or the Terran gets a bit more up than you expect, and it's like, oh, turns out Roach Ravager still sucks in the wrong situation, and that's definitely the case in a lot of the games we see. As you see the hive coming up, the Bailing Nest on the way. I like to say a full switch from Dark into melee upgrades and some Banes and some Lings. Some Infestors as well going to join the fray. He also, with that hive, is going to give himself access to Vipers. I think most specifically will be amazing for against the siege tanks. As he makes Lings, he could also start thinking about Adrenal Glands, another way in which he can improve his army composition at this point in time. Marine's going to come through, going to unload it in the corner. Medevac, Medevac, Medevac. Yeah. ByuN just not paying enough attention to it. Responds too late. And I was going to say, I'd be surprised if he got the Queen, but he does get it. He gets one Queen out of it in the end. Obviously still not worth 8 Marines and a Medevac. Just a nice little bonus despite the fact he kind of messed up as do you move forward again. Dark once more kind of always being the aggressor. He has a great creep spread. The benefit of having controlled the game up until this point means he has been kind of free. You know, ByuN is not being denying that creep. ByuN clearly recognizing he needs to play a slower game himself. The Ghost Academy is coming through. The 3-3 upgrades are being looked into as well. So he is setting himself up to play that kind of later game if necessary. He has an orbital on that left-hand side instead of a planetary, but I don't hate it. You know, a planetary against, you know, Roach Ravager, a lot of the time a planetary, it's like, it's good damage, but it can't save itself. ByuN's not in the position where you can kind of replace command centers super easily. So I think it's actually the ability to kind of lift up the orbital and just save it and re-land it might actually be really important for him here, as we do see this first fungal growth going to land that tank. It's not really going to get punished, though. Another tank that was sieged is actually the one that dies. Another fungal, perhaps, is going to catch a few units. Can we capitalize the corrosive piles? Now, they hit a Marauder, but again, really not as much as you might have wanted to get out those fungals. They didn't seem so scary. The army of ByuN continues to set up. A little bit of bio will stem forward. A couple creep tumors already beginning to go down. Seeing that cloaking coming up as well for the ghosts here. Things continue to come out. Just going to be seeing the army getting settled. A few more ghosts coming through. The couple medevacs coming in. +3 vehicle weapons. The cloaking for the ghost. The +3 attack. All the upgrades from ByuN look very good. Especially impressed he's on his way to +3 vehicle weapons of all things. There's a little bit of a concave here from ByuN. He's going to have the tanks a bit further back. He'll also have the ghosts. EMPs the Vipers, so they can't get any more blinding clouds off, which means the rest of the tanks are going to have a very good time here. They're very well spread, and they're doing a lot of damage as the units run through the choke point. This was too much of a commitment from Dark. He lost a lot. As a Sniper 2 comes down to punish some Ravagers at the very end as well. He lost a lot running into this position. I don't think he really appreciated or respected how deep that tank line was going to be. And obviously he was just naturally choking through into all of that AoE splash damage as well, so really not quite the moment he was looking for there. That one's going to hurt Dark a little bit. That might come back to bite him further down the line. Again, Ravager still in the center, as on the right side of Hatchery is under some slight duress. Banshee from earlier in the game still around, just going to keep track of bases, and of course Dark is taking pretty much every base on his half of the map and his opponents. You know, we do see this, you know, either this right side or this bottom left base. One of those should be ByuN's if you split the map fairly. But Zergs are very greedy. They don't split maps fairly. That's why they've got creep. They really like to, you know, mark their territory and invade into others, as Banshee's actually going to find a moment where there's no detection. He actually gets a drone before he gets knocked down. Forces a burrow, denies some mining. You scan the main. I'm not sure what you're looking for. Maybe a Greater Spire? I think ByuN wants to know whether or not Dark is switching into Broodlords. Because if Dark begins to swap into Broods, ByuN needs to use this last little bit of supply here to move into Thors, probably. If Dark is not going to go into Broodlords straight away, I don't think ByuN has to be as immediately concerned or worried about that, though. So you can kind of give it a little bit longer instead. And then you can use, you know, put your army into better and more useful things for the current composition you're up against. Denied this attempt. First in a while, but ByuN is still pretty much on top of it. We're going to use this as a distraction from Dark as he tries to dive forward. There's a lot of ghosts here. Not really sure how much this initial flood of Lings is really going to achieve. Now some Banelings showing up. The ghosts left into a medevac, some of them, but I don't even know if that was necessary, honestly. So you're all going to push this back again. Dark dives through with very little gain. Attempting to Nidus on the other side, but that doesn't even really seem to kind of deliver at all. In fact, that doesn't really deliver in the slightest as another ghost comes back into the center one more time. Some extra Banes coming up. Outling Hydra getting ready in the center. See now Liberator's getting sieged up, trying to deal with this next wave of attackers. Lings start to dive through. There's ghosts again. The SimCity's not going to be your friend as Dark, and ByuN is very much so just ready to play this long game if he needs to. Only 2 SCVs going down here. He lost, I think, a building command center. So that's maybe the most expensive thing you lose out on, but if that's the biggest thing you're missing out on, keeping SCVs alive is top 1 priority for a Terran player in these scenarios, and that is absolutely being done at the moment, it would seem. Just going to drop a lurker down over there as well. When he comes through, a little bit of an abduct as 1 or 2 ghosts are going to go down immediately. And again, Dark tries to find something of a bit of progress over here. TCs are going to be depowered for a little bit as well, so they're just going to be stuck a little bit sat there a little bit stuck. As once more we're going to come running through with everything else. Army just comes straight in. Guys, just to let you know, I'm also seeing these little frame drops on the stream. I'm not sure what that is necessarily. Doesn't seem to be affecting the actual game or anything, just things going a little slow. So apologies for that. It's not something I can currently help with, but just letting you know it's not specifically on your side or anything. As ByuN does make a bit of a dive forwards, we do actually get in to drop a couple of bits and bobs of snipes. We're going to have to back it up though, but falling back into tanks and liberators, I mean, there could be worse scenarios. Those are going to begin to unload. These blue flame helibats are absolutely crucial to help you defend in these later stages, so we're doing that very nicely. We still have infestors and hydras on the way up as well. We continue to bring all of those into play just for the moment also here. Doing a good job on that front, as we do have, again, just, I mean, ByuN forcing Dark to spend a lot of money each and every time. 10,000 resource loss difference. There is a Nidus in the main. ByuN has got a tank on the way to deal with it. How much is Dark going to actually bring out to actually kind of utilize this Nidus at all? Well, he's got a lot of lings. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be that important, as we do lose one ghost. Okay. And it pulls ByuN back, but unless you've got another army in position to really make use of that kind of movement, then I don't think this is going to matter too much. So that Nidus has gone down. This was maybe not the best handling from ByuN, but it's going to be good enough here. It's good crisis management, because he definitely wasn't ready for it ahead of time. You can't expect to be on top of every single Nidus, right? So being able to deal with them when they do get up is a pretty important skill to have in the matchup as well. Ling's still coming through. A few SCVs have gone down, about 9 workers getting picked off. Now this army just coming back around the left-hand side a little. Spire about to finish from Dark. Obviously, Greater Spire might just be on the menu here, but he doesn't have a ton of money. I mean, he has all the bases in the world to mine from, I guess, but he doesn't have like a bank to instantly kind of build into kind of Spire and Greater Spire with, but of course, like, he doesn't have to be instant, and he has time to build a Greater Spire and then get set up. If I'm ByuN, I think the biggest concern is, hey, I'm on 5 bases, and he's really on top of my 6 bases. ByuN needs to make some, kind of pressure. He needs to kind of get forward a little bit. He needs to step out of what is a bit of a contain that Dark currently has on him. He needs to step out of this, get another base online, especially because, again, 5 bases will only take you so far in this game. Efficiency is good, but if your opponent genuinely outmines you, then it just doesn't matter. A lot of infestors going down, though. You know what? It may not come down to a 6th base if Dark trades like this, because he loses a lot here. This was the most committed attack we've seen from Dark. The lurker or 2 that are here just not really doing that much. Snipes coming down. Dark ends 30 supply down on this. What a desperation dive from Dark. I mean, just don't know if Dark has to make plays like that. Maybe he's terrified of ByuN getting base number 6 up on that left-hand side. And I can appreciate that. I can understand that. But I think this was just a little bit too much. I think this was just a little bit too invested for, again, like I say, for what reason? Why did Dark have to make the move right now of all times? This Liberator is going to force the Hydras to come and respond as a few drones begin to go down. Just as Dark can't really afford to lose any mining, he's going to have a base denied here. Dark will get a few units over here to try and fight this position, and to be fair, going to go pretty well. ByuN losing SCVs at a long distance, and you're not doing much about it. Going to bring some units over, but like I say, taking a little while. This is a base that ByuN desperately wants to get online, as ByuN sits up about 30 army supply, 20 SCVs going down there. A pretty big hit to what was being a pretty comfortable economy of ByuN throughout the game so far. Like I say, I think important for ByuN to get that left side up, as we do see this little fight breaking out. Some Banes crash in. We try and evacuate what we can. Some of the units are just going to drop back down and trying to fight in the moment. Dark getting a couple of good grabs, bringing himself back after maybe not the best couple of moments. He is definitely starting to be a little bit more on track now. Ghost going to grab a couple more of those Zerglings and just going to get a snipe on a Viper, as again, maybe Dark goes a little bit too deep. Maybe the Lings running forward here is fine, but the Viper, quite expensive, as again, a lot of what's building is Ling Hydra, not much tech beyond it. You've got to worry against a Terran army that is very much so tank, Hellbat, Ghost. You know, everything that ByuN has is teched up, and Dark is replacing with untechable units, really. I guess you can make the Hydras into lurkers, but the answer to the lurkers is also on the map from ByuN, so that's also not necessarily an immediate kind of answer or an immediate solution. Bottom left base looks as though it might go down as well. A little bit of skirmishing over here as Lings are finding some of the best value just because there's not Hellbats in every position. Still expensive from Dark, though. His army supply drops after every one of these trades. And ByuN, who saw 6 ghosts, 11 tanks, Hellbats and Libs around, finds himself the bottom left and the top right base in pretty quick succession. He's already killed the center base as well, so Dark is really hanging on by just the couple of bases on the right side are the kind of mining bases for him at the moment. And of course, neither player really has a bank, so what they're currently mining is very important. So it is kind of a big deal that Dark has those bases, but 73 drones, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point soon we're kind of oversaturated as Dark, actually, and maybe he ends up in a position where he's not mining as great. And you can see already here beyond spikes, that might just be a round of mules as he gets a base up, but like I say, it's not the prettiest of games still from Dark, as he does stop this base from coming down just for the moment. ByuN will capitalize and kill a Ling or two. Maybe not the, again, greatest of moments, but definitely a little bit of something there. And some Hydras working their way around the left. We're just going to be seeing the Hellbats here going to go and pick themselves off at Queen. We're just going to be seeing these units continue to come through. And it's still going to be Dark trying to battle his way into this position. I think he really appreciates just how important this defensive position is for ByuN, because he knows that this fresher base is one of the only reasons ByuN is mining, but this is expensive. We lose a lot of SCVs, but it doesn't matter because the units are going down and Dark does not have enough on the back of it. ByuN wins a 25-minute game on Neo Humanity to close out this series. ByuN